Hi, folks. This is Dr. Rob Sivers, the carb addiction doc. And maybe I'm going to be a little bit too personal, but I read the National Geographic magazine when I'm sitting on the toilet pooping, a nice, soft carnivore poop. So the latest National Geographic that I'm reading has kind of cool. It's two sides. One has a description of how we lost the planet. And on the flip side of the same magazine, it's how we saved the planet. And if creativity is when intelligence is having fun, while I was pooping, here's how my brain worked. I started considering that concept and I said, okay, under the conditions of COVID, I mean, this is a lethal disease. This is a pandemic. And it would not be out of the realm of possibility that this virus and viruses like it may eventually destroy human beings. However, we human beings are resourceful. And while there's been tremendous emotional and lifestyle turmoil under these conditions, economic turmoil, emotion management turmoil, living arrangement turmoil, we can either look at this as an opportunity to begin to save the planet that we human beings have been destroying progressively over time, or we can just accelerate the loss of the planet and allow the next species, dinosaurs, humans, and whatever comes next, to try to do a better job of the planet. And really, as we consider how to save the planet, it requires a return to our hunter-gatherer roots. I talk a lot about the type of food we should eat, which is primarily animal products and some plant products, high saturated fat, devoid of carbohydrates. That's the healthiest way we can eat, both for us human beings, but also for our footprint on this planet. Now, if you want to argue plant versus animal, I don't care, but it's carbohydrates and carbohydrate manufacture that is a huge liability. But that's not just what I'm talking about. I think the nutritional side, the return to hunter-gatherer roots nutritionally, is an important thing. At least in terms of the postmodern era, we can still eat that way. And we've gotten away from that by manufacturing our foods. But the second part, which most people don't think about hunter-gatherer in societies, is clanmanship. It is standing together and not being individuals, but being a clan. Standing together as a group to face the onslaught of the elements. And we now have an opportunity to return to being a hunter-gatherer clan. I know the clansmanship has been bastardized by people wearing white hoods and doing awful things in a racist fashion. So understand, I'm not using the word in that context. But being a cohesive group of people that stand together, that think of each other, that take each other into consideration more than we do ourselves. And the problem with a capitalist society is it's more and more about us, and as individuals and as families, it's less about all of us together. And the greatest growth, the greatest success of the hunter-gatherer clans was standing together as a group to face the odds. And the odds are now in the form of a virus and in the form of self-destruction. So what is the watchword for standing together? It is considering empathy in all of our decisions. As a young person who is economically challenged, sure, returning to work might be the single best thing to you because of economics, but the likelihood is very high you're going to interact with COVID virus during that time. And that's fine. You may be young enough and healthy enough that you're going to survive that. But you'll still be a carrier. You'll still have that virus in your system. And if you go home to your aged parents, if you go home to your less healthy friends, if you cough and snort and spread the virus on people around you, you're killing your friends, you're killing your neighbors. You're killing the people around you. So I understand the need for economic well-being, but I also understand the empathy we have to show for others. And there is a balance. We can return to work slowly, but still be empathetic to the fact that I may not harm myself through this virus, but I may kill myself. And the problem with that, the problem with our modern society, is that ultimately, while capitalism made us as successful as we can be as a society, it is also going to lead to the greatest extinction. Because when people from our modern society especially with this polarization between the haves and the have-nots, the wealth and the non-wealth people, there becomes a loss of a certain concept. We know that a lot of very wealthy people are benevolent. But benevolence is not empathy. Benevolence is not empathy. Yet they, the 1%, love to allow us to confuse those two names. Benevolence is not empathy. Giving is not empathy. Because they give so that they can keep. And I have a problem with that from a societal perspective. I'm not a raving socialist. Hell no, I'm not. But if we're gonna survive this together, we need empathy, not benevolence. And I know I'm going to get a lot of feedback and a lot of flack for this discussion. But I think we can learn from our hunter-gatherer roots as to how to be more successful. We can look at the good parts as well as the decay. And this is an opportunity to slice away the decay and move together as an empathetic society. Moving forward together rather than taking. I understand survival of the fittest. But survival of the fittest is not about individuals, it's about collectivism. And I can tell you on the scale of survival through this epidemic, we in this great country of America are very low on that totem pole. We think we're the greatest, but our actions have spoken much louder than those words. And it's with humility that we can be the greatest. But we have to show compassion, we have to show empathy and collectivism. Not in a social way, but in a humanistic way.